Hello and assalamu alaikum to everyone. I'm joined with Ali, and this is our second podcast. And we're going to be reviewing the first T20 international of Pakistan, South Africa. So, Ali, what are your thoughts? Summary of the game, first innings. What do you
Uh,
think?
I would rather summarize the whole game. One thing I would say is that it was a pretty funny game to watch. I thought that both teams played pretty bad cricket. South Africa just played a little worse than us, so we won. But a win is a win. So happy about that.
Going into the game, Bavuma injured, Vander Dustin doubtful about the game. Uh, Five players already missing from the lineup. We're facing pretty much a really weak team of South Africa, and we saw that when it came to their bowling, right? Uh, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that we approached the game with the right mentality, or do
So
you think we were too overconfident when while playing them?
just like ODIs, I feel like this is in terms of overconfidence. No, I don't think it was like a confidence, overconfidence, underconfidence issue. It was nothing like that. It was just we bowled poorly for like most of the game except for Nawaz, and we batted well up to a certain point, but we made a bit of a mess of it. So I just feel like we didn't play nearly as well as we should have, which is why it got so close against South Africa's C team, like you just mentioned.
What I feel is that whenever we, especially during Babar's captaincy, whenever we have the need of picking the strongest team, especially in the last ODI, I felt we always have that necessity to pick Nawaz. We always have that backing. Normally we don't play him that much, but when we have to win, I feel like we can rely on him. Unfortunately, today his batting didn't work, but his bowling was exceptional today. And any thoughts on Haris Rauf? What do you think about? I felt okay, despite getting hit in the beginning, I felt he had a strong comeback, and that's what counts because in T20, the way I look at it is every ball is an event. Every ball is an event, and your comeback is what matters. What do you think about that?
It is. It does matter, and he did undoubtedly bowl poorly. So did most other bowlers, but he especially bowled very poorly at the start. My only concern is he came back against these batsmen, but once again, this whole podcast, this whole episode is going to be sort of highlighted by the fact that we played a C team, right? What if this is the T20 World Cup and we're going against a full strength India or England batting lineup? Would he be able to come back after that? I think that's an important question to ask. Was the reason for his comeback his bowling, or was it the batting he was facing? That's something to think about.
Sure. But we must understand that this is South Africa, regardless of whether it's a C
Of
team. The team
course.
has to be really good of coming. Okay, let's switch to their batting now. Markram, what a joy
Okay.
to watch.
Him and
Solid batsman.
yeah.
It's fun to watch him play. It's his technique. Klassen as well.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
perfect
yeah.
captain. I feel the troops were backing him. He doesn't have the negativity I feel that De Kock has while captaining the team. I feel the players gather around him. What do you think about Klassen's captaincy? We saw him in Pakistan as well. I feel he did a good job.
He did a all right. It's difficult to judge when your bowlers are bowling five full tosses in a row, but based on the
Exactly.
video footage that was shown of him talking to his bowlers, he looked all right. And of course, you need your captain to lead from the front, and he played the best innings probably of the whole game. I think it was like a very quick fire
Acha, really
50.
quickly. Okay, really quickly, I want to ask you about Hafeez. Coming into the game, it says 100 T20.
Yeah.
Just maybe something about the player. Of course, he didn't work too well today, but that's because he hasn't played in a long time, and it does take time to gel in with the team. That does happen
Yeah.
when you've been out for a while. So, but just a word on his career so far. I feel in the recent past 3 years, for me especially, I feel like he's really picked up. That golf has helped him. That consistency has helped him. I feel like he's a different player altogether. Whenever I see him bat, it's just a short word about Hafiz. Since the past 2 years, I think ever since that Champions Trophy innings he played against India and a little before that, he goes in with some anger. I can see that matlab gussa on his face. As if he's someone's criticized him. Whenever I watch him, it's as if it's every innings he's playing is like to get back at his critics basically. So do you feel the same way? I feel and then even if he gets his 50, even if he wins us the match, it's like, you know, drop the mic type. He's in a class of his own, basically. What do you have to say about Hafiz?
So Hafiz is very interesting to me. I feel like he's been a very, very good, not just in recent times, but overall, he's been a good mainstay for our team. He's been the one constant of our team over the last 10 years since the 2011 World Cup as a bowler, which obviously that's a whole other topic. But even as a batsman, most man of the match wins in, like, I think in the whole decade for Pakistan he has the most. But the interesting thing about Hafeez, I feel, is I've always thought he's been a very natural timer of the ball. You know, we talk about golf and all, but it's not like you make any batsman play golf and they're gonna like start hitting sixes for fun, right? He has always been a talented player. It's just his, first of all, his mentality early on, and secondly his game as an opener outside his off stump. He's been weak against the moving ball, right? So this, I think, the biggest thing that has helped Hafiz is during Mickey Arthur's whole thing, when he was shifted slightly down the order. I think that's where his game, he really shines, not as an opener, but down the order, where he can control his innings, he can get set, and then he can hit sixes. So that's what. And
Right.
one thing about
Absolutely.
Hafiz, one more thing, this is a little funny tidbit, but I was watching the match with my dad today, right? And Hafiz was adjusting his helmet after every delivery, and my dad said, "Ke ये अभी जरा नया player है ना, तो इसे he's not that confident, so he's a little nervous. He's a new player just making his debut." So the funny thing is, Hafiz actually played Pakistan's first ever T20 back in 2006, and he played well in that game as well against England in Bristol.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to our first podcast, where you mentioned that with age, your responsibility changed within the team. You can't always play that opening one down spot. And Hafiz is one of those players that adjusted their role. We rarely see it. Some players, they're not unable to do that. They're unable to live with the demands of the game. But yeah, let's move on to Fakhr now. What I feel is, Ali, what do you think? Okay, I'm going to answer the question first. What do I
Wow.
think about Fakhr not opening? So I understand why they didn't go with that decision. For me, I understand because you have, and I don't quite agree with sending Babar and Rizwan opening, but I do understand why they didn't send Fakhr. The reason is because, from what I understand, there's a similar style with Hafiz. I mean, let's speak like technically without the big hitting, which that mostly comes towards the end, right? But Babar and Rizwan, they're almost similar when you look at the styles. So is Hafiz later on in the beginning. Fakhr is one of the, like, he's unorthodox. I mean, if you could put it like that. So we wanted to, what I feel is Misbah wanted to give a chance to these two to get going because number one, it wasn't such a big total, as what was expected on the Wanderers pitch. 200 is somewhat expected. That's what I think. So we said, okay, let's get this going. If we come to a problem, Fakhr can take us out of that, and then we have Hafiz later on, who's similar, classic again. Or do you feel like we should have gone somewhere else? You feel like Fakhr? I mean, what I feel basically is even Fakhr Babar is a good combination. But when you have, as I mentioned earlier to you, when you have two similar batsmen of the same style, you don't know who's going to be the aggressor, who's going to be the stabilizer. The- I mean, there was sort of a confusion between the roles when I was watching Babar and Rizwan open together. I sort of had that. What do you think? Also, Shajil didn't open. What do you think about Shajil?
So those are two questions, but I'll answer the first one first. I think that I agree with Babar and Rizwan opening, and the reason for that is, how can you change that combination? Number one, you have Babar, your best batsman. Number one, I don't know if he's number one, but he's been our best T20 batsman for a while, one of the best in the world in terms of accumulation, at least. So you can't really move him down after all the success that he's had. And then you look at Rizwan as an opener over the last around a year, and he's been not less than a year, but he's been winning us games consistently. He won us this game. He won us a game in New Zealand. He did well against South Africa and Pakistan. So you cannot really move him down. He hasn't done anything wrong. I know people will say that you need one big boundary hitter as an opener, but you can't really change that after those performances. So Fakhr, that's one reason I think Fakhr is good at three. The second reason is Fakhr is extremely good against hitting spinners. We both know that he's better than Rizwan any day of the week against hitting spinners. That's for sure, right? And
I don't quite
that's,
agree with that,
you
but
don't
sure.
agree with that? You don't agree that Fakhr is better? Okay. But I definitely think Fakhr, one of his specialties is hitting the spinner, especially towards cow corner. And if you look at his dismissal today, I feel like his dismissal shows just how good he is against spinners, because Shamsi bowled a regular like leg break. He's a left-handed, but he bowled a ball that spun away from Fakhr, right, and it bounced. Fakhr went to sweep it. It hit the top edge of his bat, and it was going away from him, and it still almost went for six. So that just shows, I feel like, how good he can hit spinners. But yeah, that's one reason.
No
But the
doubt,
main
no doubt
reason
he
is
does
the
play. Yeah.
performance at by Babar and Rizwan. That's why I think
And
he's
what about the second question about Shakil?
I don't think Misbah likes Sharjeel. I think Misbah said something about fitness recently and all. I don't think Misbah likes her. This is just, I could be wrong, whatever, but I think he's not in the good books of the management, and that's fine. Where are you gonna put him in this team? Like, where can you fit him for now?
Okay, yeah,
What about
I
you? What do
feel
you
like
think about it?
with the World Cup, my dream opening pair is Shajil and Fakhr. I think that's
Yeah,
just goes ballistic when you have that. But then you can't, as I mentioned earlier, they're both aggressors. So I think it would be better, to maybe have Fakhr and Shajil compete for the spot and have Rizwan
I
and
agree.
just to have some stability. Now
Yeah,
you, as you mentioned earlier, just going back to that argument, what I feel is that players 100% Rizwan won us those matches earlier, and Babar's been in good form. But you have to look at the team combinations, regardless of that. You have to look at the way the team is. Had this been a 200 total, both of us know that we would not have chased that, right? Both of us know that. So I think you have to go into the game understanding the chemistry that exists between the players and the current team dynamic. Who complements who. Okay, sometimes because I'll tell you what the issue I have with Rizwan. Now in today it was perfect, and even as you saw in New Zealand and the ones before, because mostly our batsmen keep tending to fall quickly, like down the pecking order, right? Rizwan has a thing that he takes some balls and then he gets going, right? In T20, if you heard the commentator say towards the end as well, a wicket is good, but a dot ball is as good, especially in the last over. In T20, the dynamic is a bit different because dot balls lead to wickets. It's not like ODI where you can use up a little bit. So in T20, I feel the best way to construct an innings, the best way to use those balls is to get rotation of the strike, which we did not see with Haider Ali. I'm going to come to that later. But yeah, what do you think about that with Rizwan? I just think he's such a good batsman, but we have to look at the team combination.
I
And
agree.
I wouldn't mind him one down. I wouldn't mind him one down. Just to be frank, we saw it with Gale for Kings 11 Punjab. We saw it with Gale. We saw it with Babar himself.
Yeah,
In the recently concluded T20 with South Africa at home. So there's no harm in experimenting. I did experimented with Fakhr today. I think he played pretty well, one down. This is all, it's all experimentation because the World Cup is coming up. So yeah, why I like the different combination is because one batsman has the ability to release the pressure. When they're dot balls, when they're when that situation has come up. So do you have anything to add to that, or should I move on to the next segment?
one thing I've always been critical of this idea that you should always play the winning combination. So I agree with you that just because Rizwan and Babar have been doing well doesn't guarantee that they should need to open if you have like other players, or if it doesn't fit your combination. But I feel like it does fit the combination because you bring in Sharjeel, you bring in Sharjeel with Fakhr, fine. You shift Babar at 3, you shift Rizwan at 4, you shift Hafeez even further down at 5. Hafeez is in the form of his life. He should definitely bat in the top 4. And then if you have Hafeez in the top 4, you cannot have Babar lower than 4. So it sort of messes up our top order, I feel like, if you
But
just slot in another opener.
just think, if Shajil and Fakhr work, how good is that?
It is good. It is good.
How
But
good is
I
that?
don't know about
And
Shirj.
if they
Like, I.
work, and think of Hafiz back in the Champions Trophy. I know that is ODI, but coming at the end, with those big hits, I
Yeah,
feel that because we
but
don't always now once we have a top order that clicks, as we saw in the ODIs, you don't have to have that heavy reliance on a middle a batsman coming in the middle. So we should go in with the thing that we're gonna give our top batsmen the confidence that they need. Anyways, let's move on from here. I think we've discussed that. What do you think? Should we move on?
yeah, sure, sure. We can always, like,
So
this is gonna keep coming up in other
yeah, this is
future
gonna
games
be in
as
the
well. It's
T20 World
gonna,
Cup is coming up.
yeah. So
So
we can always
let's move on
discuss
to
this.
Babar Azam.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about his innings today?
Babar hasn't to me. Yeah, he scored runs against South Africa, but he hasn't looked his best for a while. Like if you noticed during the PSL, you remember that game of Karachi where Shadril like hit a. They made around. They should have made around like 240, but they made barely 200.
Babar couldn't power hit towards the end, right? We ended up
Yeah,
losing that
you
game
remember the
because
game
we
I'm
couldn't.
talking about, right?
Of
The
course, I do.
Karachi.
When Shajil hit those
Yeah,
four sixes on Shadab Khan, if I'm not
Islamabad.
wrong,
Yeah,
right? It was Karachi,
Islamabad.
Islamabad. Yeah.
Yeah. So Babar to me hasn't looked his best recently, but I mean he's a class act. He'll come back. He just needs to find some of that fluency, and
Here's what I think.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. Here's what I think about Babar. I love his cover drive, of course. What I love, maybe equal to that, is his flick that he hits through mid wicket. That flick shot that he plays is so aesthetically pleasing. I think this time he couldn't play that shot. Because there was an off cutter that the player bowled and he couldn't time it properly. That's how he got out. But a runner ball 14, as we mentioned before about dot balls. He took up all those deliveries. And it doesn't always work with Rizwan. It worked today, but that strategy, it doesn't always work. We saw it with Shadab in the last ODI, I think, or the second last. He took those balls, but he wasn't really. Remember when we did our podcast that day? He wasn't really able to
yeah,
build on that.
yeah,
So same thing happened with Babar today. But those 40. I mean, I guess no one's going to be amazing every game, but yeah, what I feel in our culture is that we just criticize after one performance. So let's cut the guy some slack. I think he's been amazing for us.
yeah.
I just wanted to main reason why I brought it up because I wanted to talk about his flick shot that he plays through mid wicket. I think. What do you think about that shot?
I mean,
That's
of course,
so
it's
good to watch,
beautiful.
right?
It's
What's your
amazing.
favorite
It's
Babar
very
Azam shot? Is
stylish.
it the cover drive or is it the flick shot?
Probably the cover
Or is it the
drive
cut shot?
has to be the cover drive.
No
At the
doubt.
end of the day, I think he has one of the best cover drives of all time. Maybe not my
Who are
favorite
your
of all time, but one of the best cover drives I've ever seen
who are
for sure.
your top three cover drive players in world
So my
cricket?
top three cover drive players. Number one is Damian Martin, probably from Australia. Uh,
Okay, fine.
Number two, probably Sangakkara. I loved his cover drive very, very much. And number three, Sachin had a good cover drive, but yeah, maybe Sachin, maybe Sachin. Yeah.
And what about in today's world? That's what I
And
was mainly
today's
asking for sure. I mean,
probably Babar or Kohli. Kohli has a more his isn't as like
it
textbook
stops. It's not
beautiful.
as fluent,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Stops
but
halfway, right?
it's very effective. It's very very
Yeah.
effective. But both have their own sort of charms. But
So
today's
Babar,
Root has a
Kohli,
nice
who's
cover
the third?
drive.
Root.
Root has a nice cover drive.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I would go with Babar,
Yeah.
Kane Williamson, and then Kohli.
Yeah.
I don't really like the stop in Kohli's cover drive, but I mean Kohli's, if not my favorite batsman, my second favorite batsman after Babar. So I love the guy. I've been admiring him since so long, since that Asia Cup innings he played against us. We'll
2012.
have another discussion on Kohli, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. We can have an hour,
it's
2 hour long talk on just him.
bro, it's my dream to meet Kohli one day. I would love to meet him and
Great
just
guy.
chat with him about cricket. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the innings of Rizwan.
Yeah.
As we mentioned before, he took some time to get going, but when he got going, he was fluent. Superb innings he played. Had he not played, because he held our whole innings together. We can both agree with that. Fakhr, I mean, Fahim comes, he helps him out a little bit. Haider Ali comes, hit some boundaries, quick boundaries, but the way that Rizwan held the innings together, that was just sublime to watch.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I think he played really,
What was your
really.
favorite thing about Rizwan's innings?
My favorite thing about Rizwan's innings was probably the way he targeted the spinners on the leg side using the sweep. He wasn't hitting it towards the deep mid wicket fielder. He would hit it square, and at times when there was a square fielder, he would hit it towards mid wicket. So he was placing those leg side spin shots really, really well. I felt. But I mean, Rizwan is he's been amazing, but I still think like no one's perfect, right? I think he can improve on his early strike rotation for sure. You need that against good teams. They're not going to give you boundary
Exactly.
balls, so
Especially in T20s.
yeah,
Especially in T20s.
especially absolutely. But he's really good
So
for our standards,
moving on to
absolutely.
your favorite batsman on the next segment, Haider Ali. What do you think about
Hmm.
him?
See,
Today,
yeah,
specifically today.
today, he
You've
should.
been a big admirer of
I
him,
have.
of
I'm a
lately
big
especially.
supporter of Heather. We saw his talent on display with the shots he hit, right? But that's the thing about Heather. I'm gonna criticize myself here a little. I'm gonna say I keep saying he should be given like a huge rope. Let him play freely. But there comes a time where because this is international cricket, you need to make use of the opportunities given to you. I don't care about your age. I don't care about how much talent you have. It's international cricket. You're sent in there to win the game. You should stay in there and win the game. And that's where Heather should really improve. Hit a few boundaries and build your innings instead of getting out. But I still think he should be given a long rope. He's way too talented.
By all means, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Heather is a superb player in terms of talent. I think he brings back Umar Akmal vibes, remembering just the talent that they possess.
Yeah.
With Heather, I'm not asking him to defend. I'm not asking him to consume balls. When talking about T20, I'm
Mm-hmm.
asking him to rotate the strike.
Agreed.
If you look at any successful batsman, Babar Azam, especially him, Babar Azam doesn't have half the talent Heather Ali has. Let's be frank about that. Half the shots, but Heather Ali just needs to take those singles, get in the game, and he can be, even if he's half
Destructive.
as effective or as Babar, he can be an amazing player. And right now, I feel we need him in the middle order. I think that's where we should position
Yeah,
because let's be
I
honest,
agree with you.
Fakhar, Rizwan,
Yeah.
Babar, I don't think he makes a place. It's opening batsman.
No, not
Uh,
right now.
okay,
Not right
let's
now.
move on to one of our final segments, which is
Yeah.
South Africa. I'm just going to quickly tell you about what I feel about South Africa.
Go on.
Constant bowling changes. As we saw it in the beginning, constantly rotating. That doesn't allow for the bowlers to experience stability. There's barely. I didn't see. I'm talking about the beginning overs. I didn't see that consistency when you don't have Nokia, when you don't have Rabada, when you don't have these sort of players, and going back to the good times with Dale Steyn, I just I don't really see them as a tough bowling lineup. Okay, at home, you have that they have their bounce, but I mean Peflok Wayo and these guys, I don't really get I mean they're talented, no doubt that's why they're team, but they're not. I I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't feel like they're giving it their all. Maybe I don't know, but I just don't get that vibe with them. Secondly, uh, with this current lineup, I didn't see a lot of pace. I didn't see a lot of fast balls. So what are they relying on? They're relying on a change of pace, slower ones, half pace, whatever you want to call it. They're relying on the off cutter, right? That just shows that just shows the stature of the bowling lineup. The fact that we almost lost to that sort of bowling lineup where there wasn't even enough pace in that lineup. um, you know and as a bowling team, if your core strategy is to rely on the change of pace, I mean, definitely they have the world class spinner in their ranks, right, with the British Shamsi, but it just shows a lack of aggression without that pace. And that's why I really feel that it would have been so nice if we had Rabada, if we had Nokia. I mean, the series would have been so much more interesting for me because, yeah, coming back to the bowling, I feel like there were too many full tosses. As we mentioned, they
Oh
were trying to
yeah.
target those Yorkers,
Yeah.
as you mentioned as well, they're trying to target those Yorkers towards the end. The new bowler tried it as well. You know, there was a lot of variation. In the end, they did get some quality Yorkers in, right, which did restrict us a little bit, Fahim especially. But I feel like overall, if I had to look at the pick of the bowlers for me, I mean, I couldn't. I have to say Hendricks.
Mm.
With those 2 of 2 that he got, and
Y-
conceding those
You
five. I
mean the
think it
fast
was five
bowlers,
runs in
right?
that.
You mean the
And
fast
yeah,
bowlers?
Hendricks.
Yeah, yeah,
No, one of them, Hendricks.
yeah,
You mentioned Tabrez Shamsi. He picked up some very crucial wickets as well.
yeah.
Especially. Yeah. So what do you think about? Oh, well, I'll ask you about that later. But I just coming back to this. There was decent bowling towards the end, I felt. But overall, it's not a bowling lineup that scares me. I
No,
don't
not
get
at
the
all.
chill with New Zealand. I got it. Even though you don't have such pacey ball, Tim Saudi is not that fast,
No,
and
no,
Bol
it's
was
not
not
even
bowling
about
at a top
pace. It's
speed.
about skill,
But it's
like
just
and
the
execution.
accuracy as well and
Yeah,
the experience. And of course, you can argue that they don't have their top lineup. Most of their team has gone to India to play, right? But definitely I wasn't, and I think they do have some work to, they do need some, they do need to work on that for the next games that are coming up, because clearly I feel, this time Babar didn't work, but when Babar works, he's not going to forgive you on that. What do you think about the South African bowling?
Looked very weak to me. Like I said, both teams played bad cricket, and they just their bowling was, especially near the end. I think there was a time where I think the bowler was, I want to say it was this Magala. He bowled four full tosses in the last four balls, and a few of them went for. I think three of them went for fours in a row, and then one of them went for one, and then the next over, the next bowler came and bowled another full toss. So it was just like full toss special. But
I mean, us talking about, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Us talking about it has by no mean, it doesn't mean that we're underestimating the talent. It just shows how difficult it is. When you come in the second part of the innings and you have to generate those Yorkers, it's such a difficult skill, and it makes me admire Wahab Riaz, Omar Gul, Shaheen Afridi even more, because they have the talent to do it
Shaheen
on,
needs
on
to
a
work on his
consistent basis.
Yorkers, especially
I
recently.
mean,
He's been
generally,
getting hit, but
generally
yeah,
when
yeah,
I saw him in
he's
the field
good.
as
Yeah,
well, I was just so people tend to underestimate that, but it's such a huge skill, and that skill requires practice. So we
it
cannot
does.
underestimate the work
But
that Wakar Yunus has put in with our bowlers. I feel it's tremendous. I think in here he deserves
yeah,
some
but we're talking
appreciation.
about international cricket here, right? Like you can't. I personally am a little more harsh when it comes to this stuff. I feel like if you're given a job, you practice hours. You're like bowl the Yorkers, hit them on point. You have to get them on point in the game. Like it's not forgiving. It's international cricket, so I don't think there's any excuses for that. Personally,
Cool. So I think we have maybe one last segment,
yeah,
and I think this should be lighter side.
yeah, sure,
So let's do the 20 questions game. Let's make it a cricket 20 questions.
yeah.
So
You have the
let me think of
questions,
a
or
player.
yeah, okay,
Let
yeah,
me No,
go,
no, no.
go. Yeah, yeah, I
I'm gonna
got
think
you,
of a
I
player.
got you, I
You
got
have
you, I
to
got
ask
you.
me 20 questions. So let me think. Who do I think about?
Can
Okay,
I?
let's keep it related to,
Okay, okay. Let's
or do
keep
you
it
want me to?
related to this
Yeah,
series, like players from
let's
this
keep it related to
series.
this. Yeah.
Um,
So okay, I'll make it easy for you.
you thought of it?
Fine. Let's do it.
Okay. Is he Pakistani?
Yes.
Was he in the playing 11 today?
Yes.
Was it Fakhr Zaman?
You can't ask names. That's not how it
Oh,
works.
okay, okay.
But
Um,
that's three questions gone.
it counts the question. Sure.
Okay, but I'm gonna
Was
say no, just for the sake of
was
it.
he an all rounder?
Define all rounder.
Bowls and was he a wicket keeper?
Okay, no, he wasn't a all rounder.
Was he a
No, he
wicket?
wasn't a. Okay, that's five. No, he wasn't a
Okay.
wicket keeper.
Was he a fast bowler?
No, he wasn't a fast bowler.
Was he?
Six or seven.
Is it Hafeez?
Orange.
I can't ask names. Never mind. Six. Are we at six?
I think you're at six or seven. One of them.
Okay. Is he?
Let's make it 10 questions, because I think you're
Okay.
gonna get it.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Let's. I mean, you should try to get it in 10 questions. It's not hard. It's
Okay.
it's maybe the simplest.
uh, is he? Did he play in the middle order today?
No,
Eight.
I think you're at eight, 7 or 8 questions.
Did
That's
he
so
open
sad.
today? Did I ask you that already? If I asked
No,
you, don't count it. Huh?
I don't think you asked me that. But yeah,
Okay.
he did open today.
Okay. It's Babar Azam.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. You got it. I think you got it in 10.
I got it in nine.
You got it in
But
9.
I feel
Yeah.
like you should. This is
It
too
was too
easy.
easy for
Yeah,
you.
because
It's
it's
too
like
easy. Yeah.
how many players, like you can narrow it down to 50-50 by asking which country they're from, and then you can just
Yeah.
name every single spot. Yeah,
So I'll do this game with you now. I want you to
I'll
pick
think
a
of a
player, and I'm gonna
player.
ask you
Okay, any player, right? Any player.
any player in the world. I mean, let's say they should be currently playing. I mean, you know.
Okay. Okay. Done.
Is he from Pakistan?
No. Is it 10 or 20 questions?
Let's make it 20 because this looks
Okay,
hard
okay,
now.
yeah, yeah, because it's any player. Sure, you should.
Or for
Let's.
me, it can be 20. For you, it can be 10, just so that I can win. Okay, no, I'm joking. Is he from India?
Yes,
I knew it. I knew you. I knew this because when I saw it, okay, whatever. Is he currently the world's number one ODI ranked batsman?
I don't know the world's ODI rankings right now. Who's won? Is it? It's. Let me look at the rankings. We
It's
have
the
time.
player that you were thinking about.
No, no, no. It's not. It's not. So that's gone.
Okay, okay. So it's not Kohli. We've established that.
Yeah.
Is he a batsman or a bowler?
I thought it was a yes or no question.
Okay, he's a bowler?
No, that's four.
So he's a batsman. Does he open?
Yes,
Does he captain Mumbai Indians?
yes. You got it. I'm gonna think of a more obscure player next time.
For sure. So Ali, on that amazing note, I mean, are there any last thoughts you want to add to the game?
Last thoughts. I think we need to strengthen
Podcast.
up our. I don't think this Fahim played well today, but we need to somehow. Don't you think our middle order is a little weak still?
Fahim batted well. I really
Yeah.
liked his
Oh yeah, we
batting.
didn't mention him, but he was brilliant today. He's been
Okay,
improving.
let's talk about the next match. What's
Sure,
your
sure.
lineup? You stick with the same. We didn't
Uh,
talk about Usman Qadir today because I felt
Usman
like,
Qadir.
I
The
mean,
reason we didn't talk about
he
him
was.
was, sorry, I interrupted you. Uh, but even in the ODIs, his lengths have been off, and this is an issue with leg spinners. They need a lot of like, you can't. It's very difficult to come in when you're getting hit as a leg spinner. He in the ODIs was also bowling a lot of full deliveries, a lot. Today he bowled a lot of fuller ones at the start. He got hit, and then he tried to overcompensate. He started bowling short deliveries, and he started getting pulled away for four. So it's difficult for a leg spinner, but he needs to work on it because if he
Because
doesn't, then Nawaz is doing a more than good enough job with providing some control.
control, but we need that X factor, and I feel today
Yeah, but
neither did Harris work, neither did Usman work. But I feel Usman is that amazing bowler that I feel we haven't had in a long time. After watching Saeed Ajmal, I finally find a leg spinner that can emulate him. I mean, he sort of get those numbers. When I
like a
especially
proper
I really want
spinner,
to see him. I want to see him in Test cricket. I feel, and another spinner I really like is Zahid Mahmood. I
he
keep
looked
mentioning
good.
his name to
He
you.
looked good.
I think he needs good guidance. A good captain, and I think he can do wonders.
Yeah,
So going back to it, I feel I wouldn't mind sticking with the same team. Maybe
I
I
wouldn't.
maybe I would maybe I would give them another shot because let's keep in mind we have four T20s, and maybe we can give Sharjeel a chance. Maybe in the
Which
third game,
other
third and
fast
fourth.
bowler do we have in the lineup? In the on the bench. Any idea? Do you remember? Or spinner?
I know that. I know that for the test we have Dhani. I would have really liked to see him in T20.
Hmm. Yeah.
But besides that, I think, I mean, let's be frank. I wouldn't change a thing for this game because
Yeah. No, not so
uh,
soon.
unless we win the series really early. In
Yeah.
that sense, we need to keep in mind
I'm.
that we're playing, not the strongest South Africa lineup. So then we should look at rotation. We
The
have to
two
look at,
question
especially
marks.
Shaheen. Shaheen has been playing
Yeah.
every format. He's only 20. It's unfair on him to be used like that. I feel we need to give him a time to get his body to full
Yeah.
strength basically,
I mean, there's been a
and
lot
give.
of talk about Shaheen's workload
Yeah,
recently. There's been a
yeah,
lot, but I
it's
feel
a
like he's
lot.
a rhythm bowler. I feel like he needs some games consistently to be bowling well. He can't come back after a long break. I think he'll be fine. Yeah, maybe rest him for one T20, but not until we win the series, obviously, because winning is what
Definitely.
matters. Yeah. So my question marks
So
right now are
yeah,
on two players, Haris Rauf and Usman Qadir. Those are my two like that I'll be like focusing on more closely. Everyone else, I feel like, is okay right now. What about you?
as I mentioned earlier, I really like Haider Ali coming in the middle. If Haider would have been shuru mein in the starting, I wouldn't. I don't know because it performs maybe 2 out of 10 times in that
Yeah.
position. But I feel if we because he's the batsman that I like to see with that freedom to express himself, and that can only come in the middle order. where you have to play that aggressive role. Whereas in the beginning, we look to rotate the strike, and until I see him rotating the strike, I cannot give his name for coming in the top four. I want to see him batting lower down. That's why I'm not going to change him. I like this
I
position
just
that
want to
he's
see the
playing in.
management give him a long rope. I don't care where they play him. Just play him in
Sure.
ODIs as well. That's just me though.
Sure. So I guess that concludes it.
Yeah.
Everyone, I would just like to Ali and everyone's been supporting us so much. What you have to say for all our supporters, all our fans, our friends, everyone helping us out here. We'd just like to. I mean, I'd like to thank you guys so much. It's been so much fun doing cricket, and it's a sport that I have grown up watching. It's been stress relief for me from studies, and it's been so much.
Yeah.
Going to games, understanding. And me and Ali have been cricket fans. We've been discussing it for like maybe how many years now? What is it? 10
Many.
plus?
I mean,
We've
I
been
started
playing
watching
cricket as well.
cricket in 2005 or six.
So
Six. Yeah.
yeah, so having said that, our passion is unparalleled, and we really hope to continue this with your support. So don't forget to give this video a like, and you can comment, let us know what you feel, and do
Yeah.
share it. And remember to subscribe. Any last words, Ali?
Yeah, just wanted to thank everyone once again. We've only just started, but we've received a lot of good feedback and all the likes, the views, everything. It means a lot. Just it would mean a lot if you guys subscribed and you can DM us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram. It'll be in the description. So yeah, just thank you so much for the support, and we're
One
gonna
more
keep
thing.
going.
Yeah. One more thing. Anything you guys want us to explain on cricket, any topic you want us to talk about, you know, for example, the fielders on a pitch, can you explain these positions? Can you explain, this rule in cricket? Just hit us up and let us know what you think. And we're definitely going to do a video for it for you guys to
Yeah,
make it easy. All the best. And thank you, everyone. Assalamu
yeah.
alaikum.
Thank you so much, Nafis.